And from nursery rhymes to Coventry St Mary's Guildhall, the 700-year-old building is set to be used as a living theatre this week. Audience members are taken back to 1548 Coventry. That's where Richard is this morning, not in 1548, just at the St Mary's Guildhall, Rich.
Well, I might be in 1548, Phil, because we are standing in the courtyard here this morning, and I'm standing on the cobbles, and above me is the light coming down onto the courtyard, the shadow from the great, huge stained glass windows of the Great Hall. And this is where audience members start their journey, being taken back to 1548. Unholy Trinity is a story of scandal, celebration, and dark comedy. Now, characters and the audience will meet the main character, which is the character of Whitfield Saunders, who will greet the audience members in the car park. Also, as well, what will happen is they will see cast members, cooks and servants bringing in a fare for a great feast that will be taking place in the Great Hall, which will lead Francis, who plays the character of Whitfield Saunders, his opening line.
"Where dost thou go with these, pray tell? I do not recall there being venison ordered for this day's feast."
So we'll find out about this mystery and intel, Phil, because we're heading off to the kitchen to find out the story of the missing ruby.
Unholy Trinity. That's where Rich is based this morning, and we'll find out a bit more about it before 9 right here on BBC CWR. So let's go back to Rich, who gave us a real taster of this Unholy Trinity. This is the tale of Coventry during Tudor times. Rich city during that period, actually, of the Middle Ages. Merchants amongst some of the wealthiest in the country, and they would meet at St Mary's Guildhall, and that's where Rich is for us this morning.
Yes, we have left the courtyard and we have come into the medieval kitchen here, and we have really stepped back into 1548 because those rich merchants, this is where their food would have been prepared for those many meetings that would have taken place here. But this is also the second stop on Unholy Trinity, and you can really feel it because you can see the two stone fireplaces which go all the way up into the rafters. And I'm in here on my journey. I've met George, who's the co-writer, and Corinne, who's the director, and we heard from Francis earlier, who plays the character of Whitfield Saunders. George, I'm going to start with you. Unholy Trinity. Tell us what this story is about, because it's billed as dark commentary, mystery and intrigue.
Well, it is definitely a tale of corruption, deception and a power struggle. We arrive on a very special date here in Coventry because it's the making of the mayor. So Whitfield Saunders, who I think you met earlier, is preparing for his celebration and his investiture as the mayor of Coventry. And also we have a very surprise visitor, which is Edward VI, the king. And it's also his celebration because he arrives on his 11th birthday.
And the story as well is because because obviously the crown jewels for the king and the monarch were actually kept here, and you've built into that story a little bit about a missing jewel.
We have the Trinity ruby, and the story really unfolds, and it's about trying to find this missing jewel, and there's lots of twists and turns and interesting outcomes.
Now, Corinne, you are the assistant director, so you're very much about the look and the feel of the play. Now, we can hear behind us some of the sounds of medieval times. We can see the boxes of hay, the bags of wheat. What's it like? Because the audience go on a journey, don't they? They follow the cast members. So how have you made this space into almost what I call a living theatre?
Well, I mean, to start off with, we've had the amazing space already, so all we've had to do is enhance it, really, because everything is here. So we've brought in extra things, and we've had a beautiful big table built for in the Guildhall and a throne. But you know, the place itself, it just lends itself to the period so easily. We haven't had much work to do.
And what happens in this? So when we left the courtyard, what happens in this scene here in the kitchen?
Here you get to meet some of the servants who are preparing all the lavish feast, and the menu for the feast is shown to Whitfield, and he gets a bit upset because he hadn't ordered it. So it's, yes.
And the interesting thing about this is you've gone through the original real records here at the Guildhall to see what types of food would have been prepared.
Absolutely. We did a huge amount of research, obviously, in order to write a piece that's, you know, in period language. It was quite a challenge, really. But when we learnt huge amounts, I mean, Francis could literally...
Well, let's bring in Whitfield Saunders, a.k.a. Francis. So, Francis, we heard from you earlier. You can be out of character for a second. You will be in character on our next piece. Tell us what some of the foods that you would have been eating in that time.
Oh, I have to reel off so many food names.
Reel them off.
Oh, pestles of reed deer, carps of young veal in arm fast, oh gosh, flesh for pottage, lots of things that I've never tried before in my life, but that they would have eaten at a lavish banquet, but they sound very indulgent.
And this is the storyline, isn't it, that you're preparing for the Lord Mayor, you're getting lots of wealthy people coming here, the ruby goes missing, and you've got to find this ruby, and there's a twist and a turn so it doesn't affect your chances of becoming the Lord Mayor of Coventry.
Yes, for my character, Whitfield Saunders, he is having the most stressful night of his life because he wants to become Lord Mayor, but there's lots of much more important things that get in the way, and he feels like he's going to be bankrupted because he wasn't expecting to have to pay for the king.
And the thing is as well, we know that the actual real Lord Mayor in Coventry at the time was a W. Saunders.
He was, yeah.
We don't know if it was Whitfield.
No, we just had to make that bit up. But yeah, W. Saunders, and interesting character, and we gave him a wife, and we gave him a backstory, and he was actually a capper of the guild. Yeah, he made cap. So he did.
Not part of the mafia.
No, and he does present to the young king a cap of the finest Coventry blue.
The finest Coventry blue. So we'll be heading off for our next scene after 9 o'clock, Phil, where we're going to be going into the Great Hall, which has been transformed into this amazing backdrop with a huge table as well. So we're going to be speaking and finding out the final scene and whether Whitfield Saunders makes it to Lord Mayor.
Wow, okay. Good stuff. Productions of this Unholy Trinity, by the way, tomorrow night, Thursday the 17th, Friday the 18th, Saturday the 19th of October, each night, 8 p.m. at St Mary's Guildhall, if you want to go and see it for yourself. And like I say, more from Rich after 9 right here on CWR. To Coventry in Tudor times, that rhyme. Very rich city. Back in the medieval ages, merchants amongst some of the wealthiest in the country would trade right here at the city's St Mary's Guildhall, which of course has undergone the most fantastic refurb. I was in there a couple of weeks ago at an event, and they've got this massive tapestry in the back there, and now that area is going to be used as a natural theatre backdrop for a new play set in the 16th century in Coventry's Guildhall. It's called Unholy Trinity. Richard Williams has been down at the St Mary's Guildhall this morning to find out a bit more about it.
We have continued our journey for Unholy Trinity, and we have made our way to the very impressive surroundings of the Great Hall here at St Mary's Guildhall. Corinne, who's the assistant director, this room has been transformed, Corinne, for the performance.
It certainly has, yes. We've made a huge banqueting table ready for the Lord Mayor's feast, or so Whitfield thinks, which actually doubles up as a stage as well. So the performers work around it and on top of it. We've created a backdrop which unfortunately does cover the beautiful tapestry. So apologies.
It's been there 500 years. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and people can see it in the daytime, can't they? And a huge throne at the other end for when the king arrives. So we've put in, and we've also made some beautiful costumes, so it looks gorgeous.
And we've got our own horse.
A horse made
out of a wooden horse.
Yes, made out of a barrel.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All of these will be seen by the audience members.
Yes, they will, yeah.
When the actors are performing, where do the audience members, do they sort of gather round?
No, they're seating at the sides of the hall, so that they sort of look at it like they're at a train station or something, following the action up and down, and yes, and so they're opposite each other, the audience.
I imagine it brings its own challenges when you're not on a traditional stage, that you've got to fit a performance into a living space.
Absolutely, it really does, yes, and to sort of occupy, well, obviously we've got the beautiful spiral staircase as well, which is another part of the building that lends itself to something theatrical happening. Definitely, it's great.
George, talking about Ego Arts, which is you put on Mortal at London Road Cemetery, which I came out to see back, which was amazing. But Ego Arts as an arts group is integral to Coventry, isn't it? Because what it does, not just about performance.
No, it's not. Performance is the culmination of a lot of hard work with a lot of amazing, incredible, talented people. Ego has been in the city for 18 years now. Well, coming up on 19 years, actually. And we offer a whole programme of work throughout the year consistently. We have 11 different ensembles that meet each week. We do theatre, we do music, we do production arts. 80% of our membership are adults with learning disabilities or are neurodivergent, people with mental health challenges, and we bring people together, professional actors, non-professional actors, and a very professional production team to create these wonderful pieces. And people should just come and get involved.
Now, this is the final stop for our performance of Unholy Trinity. Let's bring in Francis, who plays Whitfield Saunders as the bell rings. If that isn't fate, we want to know, you're trying to become Lord Mayor in the play, and you have a scene, don't you, where you've got to find this ruby to protect your chance of being mayor.
I do indeed. It's make or break time for Whitfield Saunders, because what he thought was going to be the best day of his life could end up being the worst. And it's all dependent on finding this precious ruby that he didn't even know existed until that evening.
One of your final lines is you've got your paper that you need to get signed to be mayor, and you deliver.
Would you possibly see fit to witness my investiture?
And that is where we will leave it on a cliff edge.
Thank you, Richard. There, down at St Mary's Guildhall, Unholy Trinity. It's on tomorrow night, Friday night and Saturday night, 8 p.m. at St Mary's Guildhall, if you want to go along and see it for yourself.